Is Jolene gonna be here or just,
No,
She's,
she said she was gonna.
she's
go.
available if we need, but
Oh,
all right,
and, Molly in here, so. What her name was.
all right, it's 5:30. Call the Forest Lake Parks and Recreation Committee meeting to order. First item, roll call.
Commissioner Eckert?
Here.
Oh, hang on one second. Good thing Dave's here to. All right, Commissioner Eckert,
Here.
Commissioner Mattson, Commissioner Moorhead,
Here.
Commissioner Tyson,
Here.
Commissioner Herdina,
Here.
Commissioner Gary,
Here.
Commissioner Lundmark.
Next item is Pledge of Allegiance. Next item is approve the agenda. Do I have a motion? Tim moves,
I second.
Sue seconds. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye, okay.
Chair, if I can just add, commissioners, make sure you tip your microphones down, and then when you do talk, make sure you're talking into them.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle. I was gonna mention that. Especially if people are trying to watch on YouTube, you can't hear anything if we're not talking into the microphone. It's a little bit awkward when we're looking at the staff and, but we'll make it work. All right, open forum, we've got one speaker, Dane. And I apologize, I won't try to pronounce your last name.
Oh, that's
Kubicek?
okay. Dave Kubicek.
Kubicek, okay.
So
Welcome.
I'm here to represent Playa Creations. We submitted one of the projects for the Manor Park project. Just wanted to say that I'm a member of the local community. My daughter goes to the Forest Lake schools, and we play on the parks all the time. And we'd love to be a part of making them better. As one of the owners, we've decided that because it's local, we would like to give a pretty decent discount on it to get some new product in the ground too. So we are always trying to develop new product and get it out there, add play value to playgrounds, and this is a great opportunity for us to do it. Again, like I said, it's local, we can do the installation, we can monitor it, make sure everything is working properly, and we're close by if there's any, maintenance issues or anything like that. We're able to jump in and take care of it right away. We feel that it also matches the community well, specifically option 2. It has a fish theme to it as well as trees and more nature elements, and it fits the community quite well, in our opinion. We would like to be a part of this project, and I just wanted to present that as what we could do. It's something that we feel would be a good value to the community at the price point that we can do it for. And being local, it's, we got a lot of pride in it too, so. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks
Thank
for
you
coming
for
out
coming.
and thanks
Yep.
for your time putting a proposal together.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Next item, approve the minutes from our March 19th, 2025 meeting.
I would approve the minutes with one exception. Karen was elected to be vice chair, so we don't have two chairs. It was just listed as chair.
Okay, Karen makes a motion with one revision that, correct that she is vice chair.
Second.
Second by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next item, Hidden Creek South Concept Plan Review. City Planner Ken Roberts and Parks Department will be presenting this item.
You can go ahead.
Kyle, let me go. Thank you, commissioners, for having me this evening to talk about Hidden Creek and Hidden Creek South and some of the parks discussion for this evening. So I'm going to put up a few maps for reference. The part of Forest Lake we're speaking of is generally this area. This is Hidden Creek. Whoops, wrong thing. Hidden Creek First Edition is here, Hidden Creek Second Edition is here. Hidden Creek Third will be in here. And the future phases will be down on these two parcels there. And I'm gonna find another map to help show even more good stuff. Get it off there. Okay, no, that isn't it. Wrong map. Hang on. I think I know what I'm doing. This one I'll show. Oh, that's not it either. That's cooling cap. We'll talk about that later. One more. All right, this one. This is the Hidden Creek concept plan that's generated the discussion for Parks and the Parks and Recreation Commission for this evening. Again, Headwaters Parkway is here and has been constructed over to this point now. And then Hidden Creek first goes off to the north. And then second, third, and fourth editions will be over here. This is future phases of Hidden Creek that are being talked about now in the early planning stages. This Hidden Creek subdivisions are part of a larger PUD called Headwaters, the Headwaters development that was approved originally in 2006 by the city. It's a 620 acre PUD. It goes all the way almost over to Highway 61, includes the YMCA, the County Government Center, some of the residential subdivisions, all the way along Headwaters Parkway over to this point. This is just more continuation of that development. The Hidden Creek phases up here were approved for, I believe, 125 lots altogether, residential, single-family homes. These future phases show another 173 single-family homes being proposed. Again, this is at a concept level. It's just to show how streets, lot layouts, and potential park locations could fit in the grand scheme of things. So the important thing for the commission to remember is that concept plan reviews are non-binding, and they're just to provide developers feedback about the concept plan, especially as it relates to the comprehensive plan and the city's plans for development within the city. And again, they don't construe any legal development rights to a developer or applicant. What it does do, though, is gives the Parks Commission, Planning Commission, City Council a chance to see a development plan, high level, first time, provide feedback. And that's why we're here this evening, because there are some park elements in this plan. The Parks and Trails and Lakes Commission reviewed some of this back in 2020 and 2021. And as I understand it, there's a couple of members here that were on the commission at that time. And that isn't the map I want. Well, hang on. I got another. I have more maps. Here we go. This was a concept plan showing some general park locations from that era, again, 2020, 2021. So again, Headwaters Parkway here, looping through the site. First edition, second edition, much of which is developed very close to what this layout is, if not almost identical. And then one park site was identified here in the red circle, and a second potential park site was identified here. The City Council reviewed that concept plan, this one that I put up back on March 24th of this year, and provided the developer with some comments about some of the lot sizes and the potential of having lots backing up to Headwaters Parkway, such as these, the overall density of the project. And so really focusing on land use zoning, subdivision standards, and not so much about parks. And again, that's the role of the Parks Commission, and of course, that's why we're here this evening. So again, this development is small lots, single-family lots, small lots for single-family homes, lots of either 65 feet in width or down to 50 feet in width. The 65-foot wide lots at 7,500 square feet or 7,000 square feet were approved as part of the Headwaters PUD. And those lots, which are shown in red, are consistent with that and also consistent with the underlying zoning, which is MXR1. The lots with the blue structures are proposed to be smaller at 50 or 55 feet in width, and they'd be around 6,000 square feet. So those are smaller than, again, what's currently approved on the books, and that would be something the developer and the city will have to work through in future planning efforts as this project moves forward. Because of the size of the development, and backing up a little bit, parkland dedication is calculated based on the developable acreage of a site. Typically a 10% land donation or a cash donation or a combination of both. And in this case, it appears that there might be between 40 and 50 developable acres. We haven't done the fine math yet, and as I outlined in the report, that would be a dedication of between 4 and 5 acres. I had written 5 and 6, and I was in error on that. But if there is not land suitable for that, the alternative is for the developer to make a cash donation, and current fee for that is $2,500 per lot. And in the first phases of the development, the city did collect some money for that, towards that, and to be used for developing parks. Couple of things to ponder, and now let me get to another map. We've got another parks map here. This one. Okay, I'm going to give a little more reference background information. This is from our 2040 City Comprehensive Plan out of the Parks and Recreation chapter. This shows the parks and trails and future neighborhood parks that were outlined in a concept level back when this plan was adopted about 8 years ago, I believe it was. The red circles are general locations of future neighborhood parks. And this one here is very close to, or if not representative of, the Hidden Creek area. The yellow line is also a trail corridor, which something to keep in mind. This is Headwaters Parkway shown in a general location here going through. So this, again, having parks and potentially more than one park in this area is consistent with the comprehensive plan that's, again, on the books for the city. So here's where we get to the fun part. Excuse me. This, again, is Headwaters Parkway coming in from the east, from the YMCA, past the school, eventually turning south. First edition, again, goes off to the north and west here. This land here is about 3.17 acres, has been set aside for park dedication. That was set aside as part of the plat for within the first edition, and actually the first 4 editions of Hidden Creek. Stormwater ponding here, probably stormwater ponding in this area. This line is the dividing line, if you will, between approved phases and future phases of Hidden Creek. So what they are proposing now is to dedicate some land adjacent to the land that's already been set aside for the park, and have one community park, neighborhood park, of about 6 acres, I believe, in total size. And that's consistent with the earlier plan that was done in 2000. That's generally consistent with this map here, showing a neighborhood park, community park in this general area. So as a concept, staff is generally okay with that, but we need to point out a few things to think about with this. Headwaters Parkway is designed, it will be a collector street, which will have a higher volume of traffic than a neighborhood street. City engineers raised a concern that having driveway and parking immediately accessing Headwaters Parkway is not the best idea in his opinion. He'd recommend having some kind of parking and access to the park but off one of the side streets or the neighborhood streets, and minimizing the number of intersections and potential conflict points on Headwaters Parkway. In addition, there will be a center median, which would require potentially people to go up to the intersection, do a U-turn and go back. And that's not the safest plan either. In addition, because of Headwaters Parkway and its design, in staff's opinion, we touch about this on the report, it makes sense to try to have some kind of a community park somewhere on this side, if you will, south and east of Headwaters Parkway. We as a city are expecting the land to the east here and the land to the south will eventually develop. One's a farm and others, I believe, farm fields. We don't have a timeline on that. We don't have any specific plans, but if I was to guess, I would say within 3 to 5 years, there will be more development happening in this area. Assuming this all goes in the next 2 or 3 years. And because of that, there will be potentially 500, 600, 700 homes, I'm guessing, in this area south and east of Headwaters Parkway. So the staff's opinion that good planning would be to have some kind of again, a community neighborhood park, 4, 5, 6 acres, generally in this area where all the different subdivisions would contribute to it somehow. And that would serve those folks south and east of Headwaters Parkway, and then this park area can serve those to the north and west. So that's one of our talking points for this. The park design itself, which was submitted for, again, high-level concept plan review, is shown. I talked on the access and the parking. It shows the play area. It shows sand volleyball, open lawn for play, a pavilion, trails connecting to the neighborhood and Headwaters Parkway Trail. Some of these uses, especially the sand volleyball, I don't believe fit the city's long-term plan, but again, this is an introduction, concept plan, good for discussion, that kind of thing. So one thing that the staff is looking for from the commission tonight is what type of uses do you think would be best to have in this park? We don't need necessarily a final list, but at least start thinking about it and maybe give to staff your top 2, 3, 4 kinds of uses that you think would be most appropriate or most beneficial in this park. And we'll take that and as the project moves forward. The other thing to point out is this is showing stormwater ponding in the park area, and the city code says that land dedicated for public use essentially has to be high and dry ground. Stormwater ponding cannot count towards the acreage. It can be an amenity, it can be nice to look at, but as far as an acreage count, whatever's encompassed by the water won't count. And that might mean that some of the park dedication in these phases, future phases, will have to be made up through the cash donation or dedication at the time of the plat. So, again, we're at concept level planning for this whole subdivision. The next steps for the developer will be to take feedback. They've already received feedback from the Planning Commission, received from the council, and now the Parks and Rec Commission will provide some feedback, especially about the park elements, the trails within the subdivision, future subdivision. The developer will take all that information back, process what they think will work, and then work towards preparing official preliminary plat applications and park plans that will get further review. Again, none of these comments are binding or binding to the developer, or binding to the city. It's to provide feedback. So with that, I will stop. I will take your
Okay.
questions. Otherwise, Mr. Dobbs is here representing the development team. If you have, I'm sure he has a few words he'd like to share with you. I can take your questions first, whatever's best for the commission at this point.
Okay, just so to summarize, Ken, there sounds like there's 3 areas you need comments on. It's the driveway, it's the parking along headwaters, the idea of a separate park, and the third one is uses in that park and the park layout.
Especially the latter two, yes.
The latter 2, okay.
Yeah. And if
All
there's any other park or trail related items,
Okay.
now's the time.
Would the commission want to hear from Mr. Dobbs before?
I have a quick question for Ken.
Yep, go ahead, Tim.
So that open lawn area, roughly how big is that? I mean, would it be something a person, you could have soccer or football or something out there?
I'm gonna, just eyeballing it, that this whole piece is 3.1 acres, so that might be an acre, acre and a half.
Okay, right. Okay.
It'd be good to hear the entire thing, I think,
Okay.
before.
Welcome, Mr. Dobbs.
Thank you. Ken, can you put the overall concept back up, the green one, please, with the 2 circles on
with
it?
this-
My name's John Dobbs, and I have
This one,
been
John?
talking about this parkland and this project back when there used to be a park board back in the day. So I'm really glad you guys are here because one of the things that went on early, and I sent a memo to the staff, but unfortunately I was really jammed up and I didn't get it here until pretty late, so I don't know if it actually made it to you guys' desk or not. But when we did this originally, and we did the project, no, I'm sorry, Ken, the green one that had the upper and lower part, the
Not this
whole
one.
whole area basically.
What, I'm sorry, John?
It was
Did
the
you
first one.
This one?
That one,
Yeah.
thank you. So when we were doing the original Hidden Creek subdivision, which is the dark streets on that drawing, there's 125 lots is what ended up getting approved. And the Park Commission I came to work for Paul Bergerman in 2020. He had been in front of the park board before that, and what we were directed to do was have about a 3-acre park in the center, and our goal back then, from the planning commission, from the existing staff at the time, and also from some of the residents when we were at the park board meetings, was to try to not only set aside some land, but actually build the park, like now, not 6 years from now, not 20 years from now, do it now. And there was one park meeting that I was at in particular where there was residents, there was pictures of a field with maybe one jungle gym and maybe a teeter-totter in it. And so the dialogue that was going on between the staff and the residents was, we have these parks that are basically just fields and not a lot of activity in them. So out of that, we started to kind of put together this concept. Well, the Hidden Creek project as a whole became somewhat problematic for a variety of reasons that had nothing to do with park. So what I'm here to do is actually try to pick up the dialogue from back then. So the concept that we've shown is just that. We put up volleyball because I was given a list of things that I think was a survey. I think there was a survey done that was for the city of Forest Lake where there were categories of recreational, active or passive uses that were underserved. So we just grabbed a volleyball court. Whether it was a soccer field or whatever it is, we don't really have an opinion about that. Our goal and our ask is actually to get some direction of what the space should be, what the program materials are, and our goal is to build it now, and so my main ask is to see if the park board is on board with that idea. In the second phase, we dedicated $92,500. We're getting ready to dedicate $120,000 in the next phase. Land we've already dedicated is 3.1 acre that Ken pointed out earlier, 3.14, I think. Future phases collectively, without any land, just fees, would be another $462,500 in today's fees. I've been involved with Capstone in a couple of different projects in other parts of the city where we have done just this, built the park right now. And so what we did was we took the idea of how much land and how much money the project was going to generate, and between the park board and the park staff and the development group, figure out, and I don't work for Capstone, I represent the landowners up in Ramsey where we're doing this, but I have a degree in landscape architecture from the University of Minnesota, so that's my background. But the idea would be to take the money and some land with guidance from you guys about what programming should be in there and build it now, either this year or early next, for all of it. So take the money for the future phases, the money that's already existing, and put it into the neighborhood park. We did this in the north side of Riverstone subdivision in Ramsey, and I'm happy to give you the address how to do that. It was dedicated to the landowners, a family farm that had been there for 100 years. They programmed about 1.5 acres of space, really cool jungle gym, sand. Kids are there all the time. The park equipment collectively is about $350,000 bucks. And I mean, it's cool. It's really nice. And they did it on the south side as well, got the park board involved, found some grant. They actually have a treehouse park on the south side. And there's kids there all the time. So from a marketing and from a development point of view, not just a design point of view, which is mostly what I've been talking about, but from a neighborhood part of view, the idea of having a park in the center was always about having a heart of the neighborhood and trying to figure out where people can actually go. Parking lots, we're not opposed to that. They cost money. The project's going to generate X number of dollars in fees. And I just showed you the math. In today's dollars, I don't know what the park fees will be next year or the year after. Just as a side note, there really isn't a trail system or trail fee, and you get no credit for doing it, but you know, we've dedicated extra right-of-way in Headwaters Parkway and we're going to end up building the trail along it, paying for all of that. That's some acreage. We dedicated some previous acreage. I gave the staff a graphic today of what is dry ground versus what is pond ground, so we're not asking for park credit for, it keeps coming up, but just on the record, we're only asking for credit for dry ground. But I think more importantly is depending on the program space that the park board sees and the staff sees, I think what's really important isn't necessarily is it 10% acreage, it's how much land do you need to build what you want to build, right? If it's 4 ball fields, well, that's X acreage. If it's a playground and a pavilion and I've heard sledding hills, I've heard all kinds of things. Those are different geometric shapes that require different acreage. We've just kind of shown concepts of where it could be and how it could be, but it'd be great to get some feedback. And the concept that Ken pointed out earlier, we're going to work our way through this summer. So the south side of this project is going to become real. The 4th phase, which we're going to put the 3rd phase in this year, which is up on the north, and then work our way down towards the park and connect back to Headwaters Parkway. This whole area is going to get built up in 25 and 26. So yeah, we're not wedded to program stuff, but we're very wedded to the idea of building it now and using the fees for now. So I would really like, if we could, is get the park board to either say, yes, we want to support that idea, or no, we don't want to support that idea. That would be very helpful to us, and then perhaps to staff as well.
Okay, thank you.
Questions?
Commissioners, the handout that you had at your,
Yeah.
is what Mr. Dobbs sent over today, so I made sure they all had a copy.
Excuse me, one question. What would be the drawback of doing both sections now?
I'm sorry, what?
Doing the full park right now? Is there any
Well,
drawback at all?
My typical experience up until recently is that, recently, I mean the last 5 years, I've been doing this since the early 90s, is you kind of donate some land and donate your fees, and then the city kind of works their way through it. The idea of us doing it now, the drawbacks, I guess, for us is that we're paying for park program materials, whatever that is, jungle gyms or ball fields or soccer fields or whatever it is, up front on the assumption we're going to do all the rest of it. The benefit, though, is that the neighborhood park gets built and the people have a neighborhood park, right? I mean, so, yeah, I guess the downside, if I put myself in your guys' shoes, would be you're picking fees that are yet to come and allocating them. You're allocating fees that have already been paid into the system. I guess that would be the downside, because that's kind of the ask. I think just program space, parking lot, pavilion, jungle gyms, even with nothing but a ball field there or a soccer field that was just graded out, and you're hundreds of thousands of dollars into it. So the money, in my memo, I try to do the math on the money, and that's kind of a fixed thing, right?
Thank you.
I'm sorry, did I answer your question?
Yes, you did, thank
Okay.
you.
Good question, Sue. I guess for staff, what has been done in the past, has things been done like this right away, or is it typically wait till the development happens and the city develops the park?
It'll go both directions. They've had some that get developed with, and then some have held on to the money and then developed, and that's the one thing to remember when they give park dedication money. It doesn't mean that that money has to go into that specific area in that specific park. It goes to the system. So when Mr. Dobbs and Hidden Creek Development gave that money to park dedication, it's not sitting in a bank waiting for him to use it on this park. I mean, it would be the decision of the commission to say we want to use that money, but it's not earmarked for Hidden Creek Park.
Karen?
I have a question on that because I thought I remembered back when that if indeed that an area needed a park and the developers came in, that the park had to be there, that we couldn't use it over in Bixby or Camp or something, that the developer came in and wanted to see what he was going to be getting. And so that's new to me. If they don't have to do that, I just assumed and would think legally that if it's for that development, that we'd have to use it for that development.
Park dedication goes to the park system for development of the park system.
Wow, that was, the only time I heard that was when they didn't need a park in that area, that we could then designate it. Just every day you learn something new.
You can take dollars instead of
Right.
land
Right,
if you don't want to park in that area, but if you take dollars, that money can go to anything and improvements of capital equipment in the park system. It can't go for maintenance, so if a teeter-totter broke at Cedar Park, we can't take park dedication money and spend it to fix that, but you could take money in one development and pay for something at Belts or pay for something at Lakeside. It's not earmarked, that money coming in is not earmarked for a specific area or project.
You're talking about general park fees?
Correct.
Yeah. You've been here were you here when Paul did Summerfield?
No.
Okay. Yeah, no, this is an ask. We're asking for the direction to be that. I think that's how I understand it as well, but what we're trying to do is funnel the money from the neighborhood into the neighborhood park and ask you to tell us how to program it, and then we'll build it. So you don't have to do it, and you don't have to be responsible for it. You have to maintain it, but you don't have to build it.
It's, go ahead, Karen.
just one other thing too, I remember back that we wanted to have more of a neighborhood park rather than individual little spotty parks, because it's very hard to maintain those all little spots. And so if we had an area that we could combine and put a park in the middle of, that was always, as I remembered, a really good idea.
And I understand. I can only tell you what I heard from the park board in 21 and 20, and they told us directly that they wanted the park right there. They wanted at least 3 acres, and one of the dialogues was how to get it built. So I've done this public hearing before.
And excuse me, and Karen and Tim, you were on the commission back
Right.
then.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause I remember that conversation about being there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Well, I think,
Very long time.
I guess I'm surprised that John couldn't say, okay, this is the park money and it's gotta go, and end up at Bixby or Fenway rather than here.
It's a city policy decision.
The developer doesn't have a decision to tell the city where that money goes. He's here asking you to dedicate money to that, but it's not, you can't use it as assumption that the 120,000 he put in, the 98,000 he put in already are going to just automatically goes to this park. I just want to clarify that. I'm not saying that you do or don't have to do that. I just want to make sure that you know that that's your decision to make. It's not just assume that that money coming in has to go to this park. So when you're adding up all these numbers plus 4 through 8, don't have it in your mind that this all has to go to this park.
So if somebody wanted to make a donation to the Parks at Forest Lake, they're gonna write a check for $100,000, they can't specify a park, it just has to go into the slush fund?
Well, first of all, it's not a slush fund, and second of all, it would be a donation. It wouldn't be a developer's fee. That's in,
But I mean, I'm just saying, if I said, okay, I wanna dedicate money to a park,
yep.
I'm gonna write a check for $100,000, if I said, I want it to go to a particular park, I'm not guaranteed that.
You are, because you're donating it. It's not a fee. It's not a fee on the fee schedule
Okay.
written in code. A donation is completely different.
If I can add too, there's consideration of development, right? So when you guys had talked about this maybe 3 years ago, there might not have been prediction of further development coming on. So that conversation, just weigh that in too, is that this was a development over here and maybe there wasn't a vision of development coming this way. So now you have, and again, this is just to think about, you have multiple phases. You have the busy Headwaters Parkway to consider. So now by putting one large park, that's obviously going to be the attraction. So now you just have to make sure you're vetting out and thinking, now you have more phase potentially. We believe it's going to happen. Do you go to neighborhood parks, or in what you were referencing, Karen, was the difference of a neighborhood park and a community park? A community park is your big Fenway, right? Your neighborhood parks are your smaller parks where it's not necessarily drawing people from everywhere, right? So that's, I think, the thing to consider too is you're more so saying, are you gonna keep going with the plan from several years ago and try to develop a big park? Or do we wanna see this current 3.17 acres get developed as a neighborhood 3-acre park, and can certainly have the playgrounds and maybe a gazebo, but that's gonna be later on. But the thing that you're thinking about is, do you build one large park here, or do we take some of that dedication fund, put it into the 3 acres, make a nice playground for a neighborhood park, and then plan to grow more parks as the development comes in? It's just, and that's to Dave's point, we don't have to think about all the collective fees coming in with the park dedication. Doesn't all have to be spent on this just one park. That's what Dave's trying to say, is that it can be, you develop this 3-acre park, and then know that there's more development and maybe another opportunity for another park to come. And the things that we're just to kind of consider, again, pros and cons, is you have that busy Headwaters Parkway coming in. Do we want people going from this potential new development crossing to this really big attractive park, or do we want neighborhood parks that suit the needs of the neighborhoods?
So Kyle, are you saying that the option, it's the 3 acres, and this is showing the 6 acres, so
So the 3 acres is done, right? That's already, I believe from my understanding, the phase 1, the 3 acres is already dedicated. So I think what we're really focusing on is to let the developer know tonight, do we want to see a combo of the current 3 acres with the new development plans of bringing another 3 acres to make a 6-acre park? Or do we want to see them put another park somewhere else and not make one big park? So we're really talking about, do we want to have this new development park acreage combine with the existing 3 acres that are there? And that's what we're really trying to focus on tonight, to give the developer feedback to go back and start with the concept plan.
With all due respect, I would disagree with that. The 5 acres is only it's almost 6.25, but when you take the ponds out, it's just 4.98, so call it 5 acres, 3 of which has already been dedicated. The volleyball courts, the gazebos, the pavilion, a playground area doesn't take up much space, and open space is a concept at best. If somebody was really attached to having 2 soccer fields back to back, I was here one night when what is it, not tennis, what's the other one?
Pickleball.
Yeah, there's like a really active group, right? There's 80 people in here one night, and they're all advocating for it. We aren't weighing in on the program use, but whether it's 3 acres or it's 5 acres, that's not what I'm here for. I'm actually advocating for the idea of you have a chance to do something different and actually get a park built now. And whether that's 3 acres or that's 4 acres, I think that idea comes out of the program. that you decide that is best. And so, you know, and I don't disagree, I'm not in any way arguing that factually that they're saying anything incorrect, they're not. I'm advocating for a different vision of it. And so, with all due respect, if I could get some idea of what the park board thinks would be a good use, and the park staff could give us some feedback on what program use is, I'll come back and do a proposal for the park, and like for real, based on the money that Gen generates. We've got months of entitlements for the land south, so it's not like I'm looking for answers tonight, and I don't know that the staff needs them either. But I don't want to speak for them, but it's not like this has to get decided tonight.
Right,
I
you're
really
taking,
would like to do
you're
something
taking
different.
concept comments from us, so.
Yeah, totally, right.
All right, so just so we can keep order, Dave, you had a comment?
I just want to add one thing to what Kyle said and then kind of bounce off Mr. Dobbs is you also have another option of saying, yes, we want this concept plan of this park, but instead of the $462,000 in cash, we want another chunk of land on east side of the parkway, where Ken was kind of talking about the 4 quadrants of future development, where you kind of plan out a future park that 4 different properties may combine into one big one and make another similar sized park, just one on each side of the parkway. So I think that's option number 3, right? It's option number 1, what Mr. Dobbs is providing. Option number 2 is, you know, deciding we only want those acreage in a park on the other side, or option 3 of saying, yes, we like what you have here, this concept of this size park, but we'd like to get some chunk of land on that other side, you know, phase 8 or so down in that corner.
Dave or Ken, is phases 4 to 8, is it the same property owner, going to be the same developer?
Yes, it'll be, 8 will be kind of on the east side. 4 is the one directly south, or it'll be connected to that park concept, and then 5, 6, 7, 8 are on the east side of the parkway.
Yeah, it's my understanding Mr. Dobbs is working with the landowner to, if they haven't purchased it, they're working towards working a deal to get this going in the next 2-3 years.
What do you typically look at as far as radius of having these neighborhood parks so that kids can be served?
My pat answer is it depends. There's so many variables, but Dave can speak to it further, but I think the biggest point here is about number of homes, number of residents, and is it a good idea to have one larger park where people are crossing Headwaters Parkway? I think staff thinks no, but what does that mean for over here? Well, as we talked about, is there a way to get a second 3, 4, 5 acre park somewhere to, and so, and I would assume both parks will have different elements, different features, but we're not there yet. We're trying to really hone in on, does this idea make sense both from an acreage standpoint, maybe not so much the uses, and then as Dave said, some of these other elements, but I think, Kyle, do you want me to put that on the table?
Well, if you want to just hand me the cord, I'll plug in, because I have
there.
a couple different things.
I got that.
How many homes are currently completed, and then how many are planned for the future phases?
125 are already approved, preliminary plat, the north side of Headwaters. And then the south side concept is somewhere between 170 and 175. And
Are any of those occupied currently in the neighborhood?
the north
I don't know.
neighborhood has 30, maybe residents, 40? 30 homes that are probably occupied, I guess, at this point, something like that. Dave, how fast is the design speed of Headwaters? Speed limit?
45?
40-ish? 30?
45.
Yeah, so, and we don't even, and nobody, I'm not suggesting, again, I know that concepts, and I learned this when I was in school, I get that when you put pretty pictures on the wall, people kind of focus on the pretty picture. Whether it's 3 acres and 2 acres, or 2 acres and 1.5 acres on the other side, to Dave's point, and city attorney's concerned about safety, city planner's concerned about safety, Ken is as well. So we all are, I mean, whether it's this park or it's on the other side, our main goal is to get feedback and build it now. That's my big ask. I mean, how and where, I'm not really entrenched to.
All right,
one way or
Karen?
Well, I kind of agree with two things, because I agree that keeping it away from the Headwaters Parkway is probably a good thing to think about, but I'm still in favor of a larger park.
Yeah,
And to me,
I'm
that
fine
makes no
either way.
sense to put in that, I was just out in that area because I was looking at a house out there. And I just see the potential of, and I call them neighborhood parks. I don't mean a swing and I mean a nice neighborhood park. Maybe not as big as Belts or whatever, but combining a couple of the areas and making it one spot for everybody to go. So I don't know how you put that together, where I want the larger park, but if it can put in an area where it's not so close to the headwaters, I don't know.
Aaron, do you
What
have
does
a?
Headwaters connect to? Because in this map, I can't really tell, but is it an option for the city to reduce speed limit coming through that area?
Here's, I put the map up. So it starts at 61, goes past the Y and the government center. This is Fenway, there's a roundabout. Eventually, it's gonna go out all the way over to Elmcrest, to the border. The final route, the final design hasn't been decided yet. And this is 190th gets down here. So there'll be some major road connections eventually getting south and west.
So maybe to keep the focus, we're talking about whether we want a bigger park or a couple smaller parks, is get commission thoughts on that. Karen certainly just suggested a preference for a bigger park. I don't know
I
if
favor the larger.
Aaron's
Part B of the
prefers a larger
community.
park.
Well, I guess I have a question for John, is that, in your experience with these developments, are you seeing a trend, or do you see, that it's more successful to have two small parks in a development this size, or is it better to have a big one?
My experience has been that good design brings people to everything. Whether it's a bigger park with program spaces that make sense from your guys' point of view and from the staff's point of view for the residents of Forest Lake, or it's a small pocket park, good design and good materials bring people. I'll get you guys the address. You ought to drive out to Ramsey. You drive out to this subdivision, and on the south end, Mark Youngblood, their park director, planner in Ramsey, had this vision. There is literally tree houses and trees that they save. There are kids in this thing all the time. And then the one on the north is the same thing. And so if you throw, and I'm for effect, dramatizing it a bit, but if you put a teeter-totter out there and a swing, that's one thing. If you do a jungle gym with a safe place where, and they've got cool places to play and they can use their imagination, kids will come from all over. So that's been my experience. And whether that's two small pocket parks, and I'm not advocating one big one or two small ones, but good design.
I don't think this is a 5 to 6 acre park here that's shown in concept, and you could probably get another 5 to 6 acre park, connecting those dots, so you would have you wouldn't have one massive park, you'd have two really nice sized parks. And the one thing I always remember, you're never gonna get land back. So if you make this decision, say, we wanna take the cash and this, and we walk away from that, which you can completely do, but you cannot ever get land back. Once land goes away, you're never gonna get parkland. So something always to weigh out of, and it's tough, right? You have to think about the future. You have to think about the next 400 homes that are gonna be going around this whole area, and think of where are two good spots for parks. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't think that this one park is gonna serve 700 homes, right? When you add it all together. So that's the part you gotta think of. And it's a tough deal, because nothing else is ghost platted around it. You can't visualize that there's gonna be a whole lot of development here. It's just, that's the part you gotta weigh of, yes, a big park would be nice, but if you don't take any more land or recommend that we look at other options, then that goes away.
You might have one.
So
Let's
go ahead.
Sue.
I assume that this development is going to be more so growing families, kids in strollers.
Very much so, yeah.
From what I've seen in various neighborhoods, those smaller parks are easy to get to in the stroller. You don't have to pack the kids up in the car. You can walk through the area, get to the park. And right now, there's no park other than Fenway in that area. I'm kind of in favor of the smaller one, and then as the development gets growing, find space for another one that's in proximity to those families. This is my thought.
And Don, I put up on the map, if I
Yes.
may. This is the Fenway Fields near the hockey rink. And then
There's a kids' park.
Dave pointed out that there's a little pocket park right here called Eagle Bluff. Right here. But otherwise, there is no,
Summerfield's right there.
and, yeah, Dave pointed out Summerfield's up here, so. But a larger park, this is probably 40 or more acres. I'm guessing, I don't have the numbers, but that's, I'm gonna speak from what I know. You don't need another 40 acres in this area. Could you use 5 or 6 or 8 in a couple of different places? If you think, you take this all the way down, eventually to 190th, and again,
So,
we're talking
Ki-
8, 10, 12 years,
So can it be clear, the developer is proposing this picture here of 6 acres?
yes.
Is there the ability in the future, when the phases 4 to 8 come in, that we could also then ask for another park?
Yes.
Okay, so,
And I think part of the direction for tonight would be, if you're ready to make that decision, you want one larger one on the west, or the 2 of smaller sizes, 5, 6, whatever. We don't even need necessarily an exact number, but just something for planning purposes going forward. And
would helpful feedback be that the commission would like to see 2 parks? One
That's one
located,
thing.
one located here and one located in divisions 4 to 8.
And I think the second thing Mr. Dobbs is asking for is the city ready and is the park commission ready to have them move forward with developing and improving this park in the near future?
Okay, so let's get that first question. Commission members, what's your thoughts on that? One of the feedback would be that we would like to see 2 parks for these divisions 1 through 8, I guess.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I would
see,
say
when you said
building one
pocket
though,
park,
right?
that's what confused me before, because I was thinking a pocket park next to a neighborhood park, next to a community park. So the neighborhood parks are what we're talking about, they'd be bigger than a pocket park. I'm not visualizing how much bigger, quite a bit, I would hope. And if
So
that
this-
was the
this
case.
Manor Park, what's
Yeah,
that
what's Manor,
considered?
that's a
What's that
pocket park.
considered?
That would be a neighborhood park.
Okay,
Really, it's just so tiny, you can almost put your arms around it. I was just out there.
okay, so then, the Dragon Park, what's that considered?
That would probably be, that would fall in line of more of a community park with, you got more amenities there.
Okay, what's an example of a pocket park?
So a pocket park would be, I believe it's, is it Bay? It's Bay, right?
Oh,
Yep, Bay, where it's tucked back there, it's just a swing. Yep, that's a mini park, a pocket park, mini park.
Less than-
Yeah, we
probably
use
less than an acre.
mini park would be the term that we would use.
It's Bridle Pass.
Bridle Pass, that would be more of like a neighborhood park.
Because it's.
It's
where
just
I-
an open
it's where we
space up
live,
top
it's-
and,
That park is like right in the middle of the community. And the nice part about being right in the middle of the community, instead of spread out with smaller ones, is you get all the kids in the same area.
I like that too, because you get neighbors to know each other, and I would like the bottom, whatever it's made out of, would be conducive to strollers and whatever.
Yeah.
And I just like the togetherness of it, so, but I can go along with whatever you decide, but I'm with him on, let's do it.
So
I've
let's,
lived with Belts Park for 8, 10 years, and people asking me every day, when's it coming, when's it coming?
so we can get keep getting feedback though, let's keep focused on, we want 1 park or 2 parks? 1 large park, or we want to have 2 parks in this development plan?
2 parks for me.
2 for me.
Okay, so do we need to make motions, Dave, at all, or just you got that
No,
gets
this is
enough
just
feedback?
Feedback for the developer, feedback for staff, if you
All
want to
right,
put it.
so I think the
forward.
consensus is the Parks Commission like to see 2 parks designed in this area. Okay,
And then the second question then is about this park in particular.
Are you, sorry.
Well, the other question is the timing of it, right? Okay.
So would it be one, if you go 2 parks, would it be 1 park now, because it's servicing the northern, homes in the community and the phases that are going in right now, and then the south one on the south side?
Can I make a suggestion? If that's possible?
Sure.
I'll do 2 different concepts. You've seen one. I'll do another one with a bigger and a middle park and come back and we can pick it up from there. So you guys, I mean, right now verbally, and it's my fault that I didn't get this earlier and get a little bit further down the trail. I'm sorry, I've been busy, which isn't an excuse. It's just the way it is. But I'll come back and give you guys something drawing wise. I'll get it to staff ahead of time. They can comment. And maybe that helps you guys make a,
Thank you.
yeah, I'd be happy to do that. Come back at the next meeting.
You know, my comment on the timing is, I mean, this is the Parks Commission, we're advocates for parks, right? So I don't think anybody here says, let's wait on building it. I think we all want to get it built. At the same time, have to respect the city budget and your other plans that we're just learning about. So, I mean, as in general concept, I don't think we would ever say, let's delay building a park,
No.
right? But you need to, as staff, to tell us what makes sense as timing, given all the other finances and demands you have on that.
Did he not say he was going to build it?
Well,
That part of it that you said you would be building it?
with the park dedication fees, but there may be other plans for that already that the city has that we're not aware of.
And you have to keep in mind, if you're asking for 2 parks, that's gonna buy down what he would be paying in park dedication, because that would offset with land. So those dollars that John gave you aren't the numbers if you're asking for more acreage on the other side. So I think John has a good point, bring back another concept of.
Yeah.
And for the group too, to think about, do you want it all within that phase, or do you like that concept of trying to grab from 4 different quadrants
Yeah.
from other developers to have all that partial land and then partial cash to then come up with a design that maybe in these 2 parks you can add all different kinds of amenities, right? Within walking distance of each other.
Within space.
Dave, I have a question. So the map you've got up now, so let's say that I'm standing in the middle of that red circle.
Yep.
How far is it to Fenway Fields?
Oh, about a mile, maybe.
Okay. And then it's probably, what, a mile and a half then to the arena?
A mile,
It's the same thing.
same thing.
About the same thing, okay.
Eagle Bluff Park is maybe a half-mile walk. Summerfield's maybe 3/4 of a mile.
Okay, so
And for-
appreciate,
Are there sidewalks, like if you would
Yep.
you be able to take sidewalks in all the way?
They're all connected by sidewalks and/or trails. It's all pedestrian connected all the way through that neighborhood to the north.
So I mean, if it's a neighborhood park, a majority of your traffic should be people walking, correct? Your-
Mostly, sure.
Should be. So as
And-
far as the
and-
parking
Put in
being
pic-
right off of,
Unless you put in pickleball courts, then you know people are gonna drive to it. But
And that's a whole
Miles.
nother, that's a whole nother thing to consider. If you make it a big community park, then you do have to think about parking. You have to think about access of all people coming from everywhere. So you're in that weird spot that you want a nice sized park and have amenities, but you almost don't want to try to draw the entire city there with some crazy
want it
stuff.
too
You know,
nice.
and if you do, then you're gonna have to say, okay, well, if there's 50 cars parked here, where are they gonna park? They can't park on Hutter Waters Parkway. Are they gonna park in the neighborhoods? And it's all those things that kind of domino as you think about stuff.
And I wasn't thinking, of a lakeside or a Belts or anything, but bigger than a pocket park, by sure. And if you're using Manor as a neighborhood park, bigger than that one, bigger than that neighborhood one, it's so small. But, yeah, I'm just hoping that when he comes back, you'll have a design that's big enough for a variety of an area to come to, but not one that's gonna draw pickleball people. So somewhere in between them, I don't know if that's possible, but, and I'm not one, I'm a fiscal responsible person, but I'm not one saying we can't do this now because we might have to do something later. I want to make sure that we're doing the best that we can now, and then we will handle the next rather than say, well, we might not have that, so maybe we shouldn't do this. No, I don't like that.
I think that's great direction. I think the commission favoring 2 parks, give John a chance to come back with some kind of concept, staff to kind of work on that idea of maybe a quadrant kind of park. We don't really have to think about amenities right now. I think that's the biggest hurdle that you guys provided us was we kind of want 2 parks kind of this size. Is that kind of the general idea of 2
Yes.
Yes.
parks, 5
Yes.
to 6 acres in size, and then figure out amenities and how that all works?
Thank you, Dave.
Yep.
Appreciate
John,
Mr. Dobbs too, you coming back with something, and also, if you could get the address of the park that you mentioned,
I will.
we'll go look at that, and
Yep.
I
I'll go
agree
get
with
some
you that
Pictures and stuff too,
quality parks will bring people.
absolutely.
So appreciate your effort towards that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
All
we're
right.
excited.
Staff's got enough direction? Okay. Thank you.
See you soon.
Look forward to it.
Look forward to it.
I'm just, I know we've got the AT&T rep here, so I just want to try to respect time and take, I guess we're up next. Colin Camp Park AT&T proposal.
So, as mentioned in the staff report here, AT&T has proposed to, I believe it's add a tower to, it's not, it's a brand new, it's not necessarily removing anything, but it's a brand new tower down at Coolin Camp. Right now, it's really just more so asking this commission is, are you willing to consider this tower being in Coolin Camp Park? We don't, there was some designs and examples in the staff report. We're not necessarily looking to say it's gonna go here or it's gonna go there. It's just, is this commission okay with the conversation around the tower being added to Coolin Camp? And just kind of weighing out some pros and cons there. So really, that's it. There, Brian's here to answer any questions that we might have just right off the top. But again, it's just to give direction that this commission is willing to entertain conversations of a tower coming to that park.
And then do they pay a fee?
Yes, there would be at least, I don't know if it's really a negotiation, but it would definitely be a discussion of looking at the going rates for that, but there would be lease discussions that would take place further down the road.
Kyle, for the audience that's probably going to watch, that are watching this, could you put, I know there was a visual of what it would look like.
You want me to drive now? You got it.
I mean,
Brian did provide a couple images of the site plan concept, again, of where it could go. Did provide some visuals of what it may look like from ground level too.
Does the Parks Commission know where Cooling Camp Park is?
yes.
Yes.
I-
Okay. I know some of the members are new, and I just
Yeah,
didn't want
it's
to assume
hidden,
anything.
kind of hidden.
And
I think in
is
this
just a-
day and age, these cell phone towers are just almost ubiquitous to the urban structure. I mean, this is,
And this tower would be at maximum 100 feet tall.
okay.
I have no problem with it. If I lived out there, I'd be praying for it.
So I guess what you're looking for is from the commission, a recommendation to the city council? Or or comments?
I think more just general support or not.
Okay.
If it's going to move forward, the next steps will be go to the council, again, for preliminary idea, feedback. If the council looks supportive, then the applicant would have to go through the formal zoning review, submit applications and site plans and all that. We didn't want them to get too far down the road if everybody's gonna say, oh, hell no, we don't want it.
Appreciate that. It is right next to also the fire siren. It's right there.
Correct, yeah, there's currently the siren already down at Coolin Camp. So the idea would be a discussion of combining the two together.
Aaron?
What were the improvements that residents had suggested for that park? And is that something that can be part of the deal made with AT&T to put that tower in?
If you're asking, as far as the
improvement.
benefit of coming down there, yeah, that would be a discussion to have during that process of,
Okay.
we would discuss what are some opportunities down at the park. You would look at maybe park users, who's down there already, you know, as far as what could benefit park users down there.
Okay.
So
I
is
just recall
any-
seeing in the notes from the thumb drive that we had that there were some resident suggestions for improvement of that park.
And that would all be
Wonder if
discussed,
that could be one of those, check the box, get that done.
certainly.
So does any member have any strong opposition to a tower going there?
No, I'm in support of it.
Okay,
Me too.
I have
Alright.
AT&T, so.
You want to hear from the applicant?
Tower better.
You got it up.
Where is the applicant?
can we get a credit on our monthly bill? Thank you,
So, the consensus, general support.
correct.
Thank you.
Unanimous.
Would you have any
Unanimous.
recommendations or concerns of coloring or trying to
Camouflage.
camouflage it, or do you have no recommendation at all, just
No.
you're
It's a
fine with it being
pretty-
there?
It's a pretty open park. I mean, it's where people go there to play baseball or kickball or whatever. I don't think that's gonna be an eyesore that,
I just assume that, like, I said, it's way too far away from the field, and that's another thing, they kinda have it nice and tucked back out of the actual players. I just know the council will probably ask if you had any issues with the color of the pole or it standing up, so then at least I can report no.
No.
Thank you.
That's red, white, and blue would be cute.
I was involved with one in the St. Croix Valley, and it actually, because it was gonna be in the forest, it looks like a pine tree, and I've had people stand 20 feet from it, and they can't tell it's a tower. It's unbelievable what you can do, and this was in Afton. But
Which they don't
this is,
allow.
where this is located, Dave, great question, but everybody's in this day and age is so used to these towers, and it's a public safety issue, so. Okay.
Good, thank you.
Next item, thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Next item is concessions operations agreement.
So in the staff report, we just talk about, we have an agreement with FLA on the use of Fenway Fields. And within that, the general agreement there is FLA does provide concessions out at Fenway Fields. And within their agreement, it talks about a concessions agreement as a separate than field use. We haven't had, I think that was recommended within the last 2 years to have the concession agreement, but there hasn't been one. So this is just a pretty straightforward agreement. FLA has read through. They've agreed to the terms, and are in support of it. It's just a pretty cut and dry, whose responsibilities are what. And just clarifies the payment for the use. And again, FLA they've read through it, they've agreed to it, they're ready for it to be signed off by city council. So just looking for, you know, a recommendation from commission.
Any questions, or somebody want to make a motion that we recommend city council approval? Tim moves it, Karen seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Well, we finally got to the fun item,
No, it's not too many
We're there.
choices.
playground equipment. Dave and Kyle again. This was 203 pages of our agenda, and I know we all went through it very carefully.
Crazy. And then we got so confused, we went back and threw it again, got more confused.
So, joking aside, this is an important project, so appreciate you, Dave, walking us through what commission needs, the input we need to give you tonight.
Yep, just a little background. If you've looked through your thumb drives, that 10-year CIP was developed in between when the park commission no longer existed in between now. And what staff did is basically at a bare level just said, okay, we should replace parks or playground equipment every 25 years. Excuse me. So that, just for your reference, that's how these parks are kind of slotted on that 10-year CIP. It's not, or it's in there at certain years for those reasons. And that's why Manor Park came up in 2025, because it was installed in 2000. And if you were out there, you can tell that it is 25 years old. It is worn down, and also that's kind of why we picked that year. They say between 20 and 30 years, and just by looking at the ages of the parks, playgrounds we have, that we chose that year to kind of set our CIP. Just a little background on that. So you probably read through the memo, and like you said, the 200 pages. In 2025, the city council allocated $125,000 to Manor Park. I kind of broke down, starting at 125, and broke down what the city would like to do for amenities and what we can take care of to do everything except for the playground equipment. So it included all the removals, adding a new border, installing drain tile, installation of new fabric and rubber mulch. New rubber mulch is about $70,000. We have found a distributor that recycles rubber mulch, that takes them from old playgrounds and will install in new ones. They're perfectly fine. It's just people that maybe went from rubber mulch to poured-in-place mulch. So it's the same, but we see about a $20,000 to $30,000 savings on that. Includes putting a trail in, installation of trees, which would happen in 2026, and installation of ground mount benches. A lot of that stuff was in the park's plan of deficiencies at that park. No benches in the playgrounds, needed new surfacing, access from the road to the playground, et cetera. Right now, it's just a grass trail kind of going out there. Bike racks, all that stuff will kind of be added as amenities. So adding that all up, we got to $75,000. So an RFP was sent out to 6 different playground vendors, telling them they had $75,000 to spend. We wanted age 2 through 5 piece, a 5 through 12 piece, and a swing set, because that was another deficiency at that playground that it didn't have. As you can see, we got the responses back with costs, with 2D images, there's some 3D images, people submitted poster boards, so we got a whole bunch of stuff. I attached, after the actual report, kind of the important 3 pages of each thing that was submitted, and the other 200 pages is if you really want to do a deep dive, look at different angles, different options, all that. It's a lot, but I just wanted to make sure you saw what we got in, and if you really wanted to look at everything, it was available to you. But really, if you've looked at it all, those first 10 pages or so that show option 1 with the costs, the 2D and the 3D are the ones that you kind of really have to hone in on. So tonight, really, what I'm looking for is obviously discussion, but I'm looking for 2 recommendations. Number 1, recommending to the city council that we spend that not to exceed $125,000 on Manor Park to do this project, and then also a recommendation of what playground that we should purchase for this park. And I've kind of color-coded it in that motion that you pick a green color, a purple color, and a red color, just so we make sure we name the right vendor, the right option, and the right dollar amount. But otherwise, I had up for discussion. Dane is still here if you have any questions on the Play It ones. Otherwise, feel free to discuss. I guess just to add, Public Works and probably Parks and Rec don't have a firm recommendation. I mean, they're all great parks. They're all within the price range. They all will look great at this. They all have everything that was asked for as far as amenities. We're looking for, I mean, this is your fun part. You get to pick what's gonna get to go in there. So I guess our recommendation is any one of them would be a great pick.
Dave, all 6 aren't represented here though, correct?
They're not, only a few, I think 3 of them, only 2 of them submitted poster boards, or is there 3?
Okay.
3 separate ones.
Yep. That wasn't a requirement of the RFP. We may ask that in future RFPs. Some just asked if we wanted that, and we're not gonna turn them down if they wanted to make a bigger size one up.
Just the fact that Mr. Kubitschek spoke earlier and has sat here for an hour and a half, just about. I'd be okay if he wanted to give an overview of what his, especially the fish option,
Right here.
and tell us, talk about it. If the rest of the commission members okay with that?
I love this one. I could,
This is option, this is the
it's not on a poster board, but it was.
Yeah, so I'll let Brady here, he can explain some too. But for us, the fish option is really nice because like I mentioned before, it's a lot of new product for us as a company. It's stuff, we've built a lot of similar items, but it's some new product that we're trying to get out there in the market. And like I said before, as a local, it gives us the opportunity to get it built for a lower cost, then go out and monitor it, make sure that everything is performing to the standards that we wanted it to. And it's unique in the fact that it is nature themed and it's a fish, you know, Forest Lake has got lakes and parks and trees everywhere. This kind of ties into it. I was involved separately too in the Lakeside Park project back at a former company. And it's similar to that in that it's nature themed and, you know, it's a good fit to the community. The other options are really good too. This one, we just wanted to push a little bit harder because of that fish aspect. It is a new product. It's a little bit more modern. It's kind of a geometric shape. You can see in the renderings if you have access to those on there.
Yes, we do.
It's-
Thank
it's
you.
a little bit more of a modern look to it than some of the other stuff that we've seen. And we're able to incorporate the other nature elements throughout it.
It's page
What do you,
60.
what do the kids do with the fish?
I was just gonna
So
ask
that one, Brady might be able to explain it better, but I believe it's a crawl through and they can climb over it. It's a good visual aspect to it, you know, to draw kids in and they can climb through. It's linked, functionally linked to the other components as well. So it can be used as a little obstacle course, part of the obstacle course. You wanna add anything?
Yeah, it's basically just a giant tunnel system that they can also climb over the back, up onto the tail, take pictures. It's a big picture icon, kind of is what we were thinking for it. It's one of those central key pieces in a playground that everybody's going to talk about for the next 5-10 years. But then on top of it, you know, like he said, some of our newer T2 stuff, we try to blend the nature with what you typically see in most parks, which it's that pipe and play. But you know, personally, as a kid, I would never have liked the pipe and play, but when I saw a tree or something that I could actually go climb in nature, that's what I wanted to do. And I feel like Play It Creations products are very good about that. We really like to try and blend the nature to the modernality.
Yep. And again, it's similar in some ways to like the Lakeside Park and the Dragon Park as well. I was involved in that back in the day with Theme Concepts, a former company. And they do draw kids. You know, people talk about them. They like to go there, play on them, get pictures. It's kind of cool stuff, and it's a local thing. Like I said, we're kind of proud to get local parks in. And we don't get a ton of opportunities to do that, so this would be a good opportunity for us.
I also didn't realize that there were no benches at the park, but that is something we can very easily add, and we make them themed to look like giant logs.
Yep.
So it's like a half split log that has a bench back that the kids can rest on, and they can also be kind of implemented into the play too, if we want to. But at the same time, we can put them off to the edge if need be.
Would that fit into your proposal?
Yeah, right now, if you look at the circle, there are these like little square rectangles up in the top left, bottom left, and far
Yes.
right corner. Those are play panels, and those are just kind of meant for any kid to just come up and start interacting with them. They're ideally mechanical, but I could easily swap those out and put a bench in those places, because those are a really good spot for parents to kind of be able to see the whole park from those points.
Dave, would Public Works be putting any typical parks benches out there, like outside the play area?
We would put them inside the play area. You'd ground mount them inside the
Okay.
container just so they're not out in the grass. So
Okay.
That was the original plan of, that we just ground mount benches inside the container. So, I mean, I'm assuming it would add cost to this, so we'd have to figure out how to offset that, you know, so.
We could
It's-
check. I know the activity panels have a considerable cost to them as well, and those ones, the benches, we do fully in-house. They're another themed product. They're the GFRC item. So I think the cost would be very minimal, if any different. We could certainly check into that.
Work that out.
But there is room in those areas for it.
Right, exactly.
And if it's really important, I mean, there is those 3 spots for benches. Maybe that's an aspect we missed, but certainly
It
could be
was,
added.
it
in.
was, it was always originally just Public Works was gonna install ground mount, but
Oh, okay.
if there is themed ones, then it if this is the one they would like to go with. I mean, that's something we could also discuss offline too.
Sure, yeah, and if you need, we can provide some concept images of the log benches. We've got plenty of those, so.
Good.
Yeah. But
Karen?
overall, we just feel it's a really cool park and it fits the community well.
Yeah, no, thank you for your time into this.
For sure.
And-
Any other questions or?
Karen, do you have?
No, before you came, I was in love with the fish.
Oh, good.
We had 17 pictures of all these things, and of course,
Yeah.
they're all nice. But what I liked about that was, were you working with Theme Concepts with the Dragon Park?
I was,
See,
yeah.
that was a huge different thing.
Yeah.
And those people were so wonderful to work for. So if you worked for them and they didn't fire you, that's a good sign.
There you
But besides that, I liked the way that it's spread out. You know, some of these play areas, you're all on that one thing, and I would get pretty tired if I didn't like the kid on the other side of that thing. But here you spread out. Let's see, I had another, local. I'm a shop local person. I love that concept.
Yeah,
And the only problem when you came up the very end there, I love those little square things, because I know kids like to go over and monkey with them. But the one bench over, do we need 2 benches? We can work out the details.
Yeah.
To me, the idea today is that you're here, you're local, we've seen work that you've done before in another company.
yeah.
We've got something brand new to offer, so that's my thought on it.
Great
Yeah,
comments.
I do got a question.
Aaron, question?
So when we're looking at these, so for example, the option 3 for Play It, I like that design better, but it doesn't have the fish, but the fish is, when I'm looking at the line items, is a $10,000 addition.
Because he's so cute.
So I mean, is that like an option to say, hey, yeah, 3, but we would like to have the fish somewhere there as an added line item?
I mean, for us, it certainly is. I mean, the fish is probably one of the items that we reduce the price on the most because we want to get it out there. Like, I'll be open with you. We want to get these new products out there, and this is a great opportunity to cover a lot of that cost for us, as well as get something out there for a lower cost. You know, if we put the retail price on all this, it would not be in the budget of what we were asked for. But option 3 certainly has a more spread out design. I think we played around with that a little bit.
We could fit it, but we'd have to remove the far bottom left tower that has the monkey bars on it.
Yeah,
That would be the
so-
only space to fit it, but that was also trying to match your guys' original square footage requirement or the hex design of the playground. So if you wanted to increase the size of the playground just a little bit, but that's also more surfacing as well in terms of cost. We could very easily fit it into the option. It would definitely increase the price a bit, but it was hard to fit it in there without removing some of the other key play pieces.
I think we ran into a little bit of the space issue on the outer edge there. We were trying to keep it within the square footage. And it was, I don't remember how much it was over, but it was a little bit over. So that's not a huge deal as far as the costs go for
Yep.
adding that. I mean, it could certainly be put in this area to replace that system and still be linked into the other items.
These are like balance things. Tim or Sue, do you have any comments, questions?
I'm good with either option, or the fish option. I like the fish option. There's no slide there though, right?
Not off of the fish itself.
Is there not a
but
slide?
I
Not that
believe there
that's
is
a real big
slide.
deal, but,
That's why I like the 3,
yeah.
because it, just kids walking up to a park
They
looks
always-
like more to go to.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, we can definitely add, like, take one of the climbers out, swap.
Yeah.
We can take multiple climbers out and put 2 slides in there if you really want to. Slides are a little bit cheaper actually for us to throw
Climbers
in.
and-
It's just,
climbers and
personally, I
one
thought
climb, one
slides
climber.
don't offer tons of play value because it's usually only one kid can go down at a time, whereas some of our climbers, you have multiple kids usually climbing at the time. But we can easily swap them in there.
maybe that would be an idea, and
One
then keep the
climber.
fish.
One climber and one thing here. One slide, one climber, and one fish.
So, Dave and Kyle, I think what we're hearing is gravitating to option 2 with, and I apologize, with Play It, but substitute a climber, substitute a slide for a climber.
Another potential option too is, depends on how I work it, because I'm the designer, but I could potentially fit a slide off the back of the fish, which makes the fish both a tunnel and also the reason to climb on top of the fish to go down the slide.
It'd be a pretty low slide.
It'd be a very low slide.
I
It'd be a
think the-
toddler-friendly slide is what it would
I think I think everybody likes the uniqueness of the fish, especially you mentioned that people take pictures in front of it, and
Yeah.
let's not make it a fish that has a disease.
Yeah, right? We'll keep it a nice, healthy Minnesota fish.
No worms.
Well, just to say too, everything we build is custom, like we don't, you know, these companies make a nice product too, but everything we build is kinda unique, so we are
Yeah.
able to change it pretty
Yeah.
easily. The pipe and play stuff is a little more standard for us, but it's still customizable, so if there's any suggestions for changes, we're more than happy to, you know, revise the drawings and see what else fits in there to make it a better
Okay.
fit for the community.
And one final thing I forgot to mention, one of those play panels is actually a scavenger hunt, and there are little critters and crawlers that we hide all around the playground for the kids to go and find.
Oh.
Kinda like the
really?
Lakeside Park, if you've seen, you know, they've got the scavenger hunt and there's different critters.
So, members, so would somebody like to make the first motion of, and I'm trying to pull that up, is, it's to support the full project of $125,000 for the, I gotta keep scrolling back here. Okay. We need a first motion for the city council to approve the Manor Park project not to exceed the 2025 funded amount of $125,000. Somebody like to make that motion? Tim, Aaron.
I'll second.
Aaron second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next would be recommendation, city council approve purchasing option two from
With the fish.
Play It with the addition of a slide.
I'd make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
If we can amend that motion to say not to exceed $75,000.
Yeah, I wondered when he said the 125,
Yeah.
well, you'll figure it out.
So let's, should we just make a new motion, just be easiest, okay, a new, same motion and add not to exceed 75,000?
Yep.
Okay, with Tim making it and Aaron second?
Second.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I will now smile when it's done, when I go down to Manor, instead of thinking, this is a small, dumb-looking park.
Thanks, guys, it was great work on
Yeah,
this.
If-
And as Karen said, having a local firm do this, and you showing up says a lot of the quality that you'll put into the project, so
Thank you.
you live here, so,
Yeah, no, we're happy to be part of it. Hopefully it all works out and
Okay.
get this park on the ground.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Easter by the Lake, staff update.
Easter by the Lake is like tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, just wanted to provide that the chamber and the city do partner on this event, and it's gonna be down on Saturday at Lakeside Park. Believe it starts, they do an Easter egg hunt started at 12:30. So just to kind of put it out there that there is an event around the corner, so feel free to join yourself or spread the word that they're doing that. I think they get pretty good marketing out there for it too. So it's should be fun, but that is coming up just around the corner.
And no snow
Thanks.
this year. That'd be great,
Yeah.
No snow. Well,
maybe.
still a few days left. Okay, Parks and Rec Commissioner updates. Anybody have anything for the group?
No, the city cleanup is the 26th.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay.
With
and
Good
of
Samaritans?
course, encourage anyone who wants to come. They'll get a T-shirt if they haven't had one. There's prizes and a lunch afterwards, so bring your family and friends.
Anything else for Dave or Kyle? All right,
For me, no.
somebody want to make a motion to adjourn? So moved. Tim?
I'll second.
Aaron second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you.
You do such a good job this year.
Yes.